Everyone, today I want to share a story about transformation, a transformation that began not with a sudden change, but with a decision to build discipline so strong that it reshaped who I am at my core. Discipline isn't just about routines or habits, it's about the consistent commitment to a higher standard, day after day. When I first started, discipline was a struggle. I would falter, procrastinate, and sometimes even give up. I made a choice to embrace discomfort, to push through resistance, and to show up even when motivation faded. Over time, this repeated commitment to discipline rewired my mind and habits, stopped being something I forced myself to do and became a part of my identity. I didn't just practice discipline, I became disciplined. This transformation changed everything. My confidence grew. I took control of my goals, my time, and my life. Challenges no longer defeated me. They became opportunities to prove my strength. This change was profound because it wasn't superficial. It was who I was. Building discipline so strong that it changes your identity is one of the most empowering journeys you can take. It shows you the power of consistency, resilience, and self-belief. And the best part, this is a change anyone can make. Not about perfection, it's about persistence. So I encourage you all today, build your discipline, strengthen it daily, and watch how it transforms not just what you do, but who you are. Discipline isn't just a one-time effort or a burst of motivation that lasts for a few days. It's much deeper than that. True discipline is about showing up every single day, regardless of how you feel, what distractions arise, or what obstacles you face. It's a steadfast commitment to your goals and values that doesn't waver when things get tough or when temptation calls. This means creating routines and habits that become part of your daily life, sticking to them even when it feels inconvenient or exhausting. Discipline demands consistency because it is the repetition of small, purposeful actions that gradually builds momentum. For example, waking up early just once won't change your life, but doing it consistently day after day sets a powerful foundation for growth. The power of discipline lies not in grand gestures, but in the small choices repeated consistently over time. Repeated choices reinforce your focus, your willpower, and your ability to resist distractions. Moreover, discipline isn't solely about restriction or denial. It's about creating structure. Structure gives clarity and direction, reducing the mental clutter and decision fatigue that can derail progress. When you commit to discipline consistently, you train your mind to prioritize what truly matters, making it easier to say no to short-term temptations that conflict with your long-term vision. This commitment is what separates fleeting motivation from lasting change. Motivation can be unreliable. It comes and goes with your mood and circumstances. Discipline, on the other hand, is the muscle that you build to carry you through when motivation fades. Without consistency, discipline can't take root. Requires the daily dedication to doing what's necessary, even when it's difficult or when the results aren't immediately visible. In essence, discipline as a consistent commitment is the backbone of any meaningful transformation. The deliberate choice to act with intention day after day, which ultimately creates the foundation for growth, success, and the reshaping of your identity. When you first decide to build discipline, important to recognize that struggling is not only normal, it's expected. Discipline isn't something that comes naturally to most people, especially if you're breaking old habits or trying to adopt new ones. At the beginning, you're likely to face resistance from both your mind and your environment. Your brain will crave comfort and familiarity, making it tempting to give in to procrastination, distractions, or excuses. Initial phase of building discipline often feels like a constant battle. You might wake up with determination, only to find yourself slipping back into old patterns by the afternoon. Motivation may carry you through the first few days. Soon as it fades, the real test begins. This period can be frustrating and discouraging because the changes you want to see don't happen overnight. You're rewiring neural pathways and breaking free from ingrained behaviors, and that takes time and effort. Furthermore, the discomfort you feel during this phase is a sign that you are growing. It's your mind and body adjusting to new demands and higher standards. This discomfort can manifest as mental fatigue, restlessness, or even self-doubt. You might question whether the effort is worth it or feel overwhelmed by the challenge ahead. These feelings are common, but they shouldn't be a reason to quit. They are part of the process that everyone who builds lasting discipline experiences. Another reason why struggles are normal at the start is that discipline requires a shift in mindset. You're not just changing actions, you're changing your relationship with yourself and your habits. This shift requires patience and self-compassion. Recognizing that setbacks are part of the journey helps you avoid the trap of perfectionism or harsh self-judgment. Instead, you learn to see each struggle as a learning opportunity and a step forward, not a failure. Understanding and accepting these initial challenges is crucial because it prepares you mentally to push through them. When you expect difficulty and normalize struggle, you're less likely to be derailed by temporary setbacks. Develop resilience and grit, which are essential qualities for building discipline that lasts. The key is to keep moving forward, even if progress feels slow or uneven at first. One of the most powerful and often overlooked effects of building strong discipline is how it fundamentally changes the way your mind works. Discipline doesn't just influence your external behaviors, transforms your internal thought patterns, beliefs, and mental framework. When you commit to disciplined actions consistently, your brain starts to rewire itself through a process known as neuroplasticity, its ability to adapt and change based on repeated experiences. At the beginning, discipline might feel like a forced effort, something you have to consciously push yourself to do. You might experience resistance, distractions, or negative self-talk telling you to quit or procrastinate. But as you persist, these disciplined actions become less of a struggle and more of an automatic response. Happens because your brain forms new neural pathways that reinforce productive habits and diminish the influence of old, unproductive patterns. This rewiring changes your mindset in profound ways. Instead of thinking, I have to do this, you start to think, I want to do this, or I am the kind of person who does this. The shift from obligation to identity is crucial. When discipline becomes part of your identity, no longer relies on fleeting motivation or willpower. Instead, it becomes a natural part of who you are and how you approach life. Moreover, rewiring fosters a growth mindset, the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort and learning. Discipline helps you see challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities to improve and grow. Your inner dialogue changes from doubt and fear to confidence and resilience. You begin to trust in your capacity to follow through on your commitments and handle setbacks with grace. Change in mindset also affects how you view failure and mistakes. With a disciplined mind, failure is no longer a reflection of your worth, but a valuable feedback mechanism. You learn to analyze what went wrong, adjust your approach, and keep moving forward. This resilience is a direct result of the mental rewiring that discipline promotes. In essence, discipline reshapes your mental landscape, turning habits into identity and transforming your outlook on challenges and success. This internal shift is what sustains long-term progress and helps you maintain your path even when external circumstances are tough. One of the most profound impacts of building strong discipline is how it fundamentally transforms your identity. Identity isn't just about who you say you are. It's about the beliefs you hold deep within yourself about your nature, your values, and what you're capable of achieving. When you cultivate discipline consistently, you begin to rewrite your internal narrative and the story you tell yourself about who you are. At first, discipline may feel like something external, something you impose on yourself to achieve specific goals. You might see it as a tool or a strategy to get things done. But as you continue practicing discipline over time, it becomes internalized. It shifts from being an action you perform to becoming a defining part of your character. You start to think of yourself as a disciplined person, someone who follows through and honors commitments regardless of circumstance. This identity shift is incredibly powerful because it influences every decision you make and every habit you form. When discipline is part of your identity, naturally guides your behavior in ways that align with your values and goals. For example, instead of struggling to resist distractions or unhealthy habits, simply don't see yourself as the kind of person who engages in those behaviors. Your identity acts as an internal compass, steering you toward choices that support your growth and success. Transformation also has a reinforcing effect. Each disciplined action you take strengthens your new identity, making it easier to maintain discipline in the future. Becomes a positive feedback loop. Discipline shapes your identity, and your identity, in turn, supports and deepens your discipline. Moreover, identity transformation can extend beyond just the areas where you initially applied discipline. When you see yourself as a disciplined person, you may start applying that mindset to other parts of your life, whether it's personal health, relationships, work, or creative pursuits. The boundaries of your identity expand, and you develop a more cohesive and empowered sense of self. Importantly, this transformation is not about becoming perfect or rigid. It's about becoming authentic to the best version of yourself. It means owning your values and consistently aligning your actions with them, which creates a sense of integrity and self-respect. Alignment between who you are and what you do generates inner strength and confidence that can withstand external pressures and challenges. Building strong discipline doesn't just improve one isolated part of your life. It creates a ripple effect that impacts many different areas in profound and often unexpected ways. When you develop discipline, you start to gain control over your habits, your time, and your decisions. And this newfound control extends far beyond the initial goal or task you set out to accomplish. One of the first positive ripple effects is increased confidence. Discipline breeds consistency, and consistency leads to progress. As you see yourself making steady improvements, whether in your work, fitness, or personal projects, you build a sense of trust in your own abilities. Growing confidence spills over into other areas of your life, empowering you to take on new challenges and step out of your comfort zone. Additionally, strong discipline enhances your time management skills. When you commit to regular routines and prioritize your tasks, you become more efficient with your time. This efficiency frees up space for other important aspects of life, such as relationships, hobbies, and self-care. With discipline, you're less likely to procrastinate or waste time on distractions, which means you can invest more energy into meaningful activities. The benefits also extend to your mental clarity and emotional resilience. Discipline helps you develop focus and reduce the chaos that comes from indecision and impulsivity. When your actions are aligned with your goals, your mind feels clearer, less cluttered, and more purposeful. Clarity supports better decision making and reduces stress because you know what you need to do and how to approach it. Furthermore, discipline encourages a healthier lifestyle overall. When you build habits around consistent exercise, balanced nutrition, and adequate rest, you not only improve your physical health, but also boost your mental and emotional well-being. The energy and vitality that come from these healthy habits enhance your productivity and creativity, creating a virtuous cycle of improvement. In relationships, discipline fosters reliability and trustworthiness. When you show up consistently, whether it's being on time, following through on promises, or being emotionally present, people recognize and value your integrity. This strengthens your connections and builds deeper, more meaningful relationships. Finally, these ripple effects accumulate over time to create a stronger, more resilient foundation for your life. Discipline becomes the engine that drives continuous growth, enabling you to adapt to change, overcome setbacks, and pursue your highest aspirations with unwavering commitment. One of the most transformative shifts that strong discipline brings is how you begin to perceive and respond to challenges. Instead of viewing difficulties, setbacks, or failures as roadblocks or reasons to quit, discipline trains you to see them as opportunities for growth and learning. This mental shift is crucial because challenges are inevitable in any meaningful pursuit, and how you approach them often determines your ultimate success or failure. When discipline becomes ingrained in your character, you develop a resilience that helps you face adversity with a calm and proactive mindset. Challenges no longer trigger panic, frustration, or self-doubt. Instead, they become chances to test your limits, refine your strategies, and prove to yourself that you can endure and overcome. Resilience is like a muscle that strengthens with every challenge you face, making you more prepared and confident for the next one. Furthermore, disciplined individuals tend to adopt a problem-solving attitude rather than a victim mentality. When obstacles arise, they focus on what actions they can take to move forward rather than dwelling on what went wrong or feeling defeated. Mindset encourages creativity and resourcefulness as you search for alternative solutions or new approaches rather than giving up. The process of turning challenges into opportunities also enhances your learning curve. Each setback carries valuable feedback about your approach, your weaknesses, and areas for improvement. Discipline helps you embrace this feedback with curiosity and openness rather than resistance or denial. Over time, continuous cycle of facing challenges, learning, adjusting, and persisting accelerates your growth in ways that would be impossible without a disciplined approach. Moreover, this perspective reduces fear of failure, is often a major barrier to action. When you understand that challenges are part of the journey and that each difficulty is a stepping stone rather than a permanent defeat, you become more willing to take risks and step outside your comfort zone. This willingness is essential for innovation, achievement, and personal development. In this way, discipline fundamentally reshapes your relationship with adversity. What once might have stopped you now becomes fuel for your progress. This shift empowers you to maintain momentum and motivation even when the path is steep and the outcomes uncertain. It teaches you to persist not just in good times, especially when circumstances test your resolve the most. One of the most empowering truths about discipline is that it is not a rare talent reserved for a select few. Discipline is a skill, a mindset, and a practice that anyone can develop with intention and effort. It doesn't require extraordinary talent, perfect circumstances, or innate willpower. It simply requires a willingness to start and the commitment to keep going. Accessibility makes discipline one of the most democratic and transformative tools for personal growth. Misconception that discipline is about being naturally strong or born with it often discourages people from even trying. But the reality is that discipline is built gradually, much like a muscle. You start small, manageable commitments, and over time, those small acts of self-control compound into powerful habits. Just as anyone can build physical strength by consistently exercising, anyone can strengthen their discipline by consistently practicing it. Another important aspect of this accessibility is understanding that discipline doesn't mean perfection or never slipping up. Discipline is about persistence, not flawless execution. Everyone experiences moments of weakness or failure, and that's completely normal. What matters is the ability to pick yourself up and recommit to your goals. Mindset of persistence is the true heart of discipline and is something anyone can cultivate. Additionally, discipline can be tailored to fit your unique lifestyle, personality, and goals. Not about rigid rules or one-size-fits-all formulas. It's about finding the systems, routines, and habits that work best for you. This flexibility means that discipline can be adapted and developed regardless of your background, resources, or starting point. Importantly, discipline often starts with small, simple choices. Deciding to wake up 10 minutes earlier, choosing to focus on one task without distraction, or making a healthier meal choice. Small decisions may seem insignificant on their own, but when practiced consistently, they lay the foundation for bigger changes. This means that no matter where you are right now, you have the power to begin building discipline today. Ultimately, the accessibility of discipline means that transformation is within reach for everyone. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment or the ideal level of motivation, about starting where you are, using what you have, and committing to the process of growth day by day. This realization can be incredibly liberating because it puts the power of change directly in your hands. Building strong discipline is one of the most empowering journeys you can undertake. Empowerment comes from gaining control over your actions, decisions, and ultimately your life. When you develop discipline, you take responsibility for your growth and success, which shifts the dynamic from feeling like a victim of circumstances to becoming the author of your own story. Shift in perspective is profoundly liberating and builds a foundation of self-trust and confidence that permeates every aspect of your life. Discipline empowers you by giving you the tools to overcome procrastination, distraction, doubt. Instead of being controlled by fleeting emotions or external pressures, you learn to regulate your impulses and stay focused on what truly matters. Control enhances your sense of autonomy because you no longer rely solely on motivation or luck to achieve your goals. You rely on your consistent effort and deliberate choices. Moreover, discipline cultivates resilience, the ability to bounce back from setbacks and keep moving forward. This resilience is a form of inner strength that empowers you to face challenges head on without being derailed by fear or failure. Knowing that you have the discipline to persist, even when times are tough, gives you the courage to take risks, try new things, and pursue ambitious dreams. Another way discipline empowers you is by creating clarity and purpose in your daily life. When your actions align with your values and long-term goals, you experience a deeper sense of fulfillment and meaning. Alignment reduces confusion and indecision, making it easier to prioritize what matters most. With discipline, your life gains direction, and you feel more intentional about how you spend your time and energy. Discipline also builds confidence, not just in your abilities but in your identity. When you consistently meet the standards you set for yourself, you prove to yourself that you are reliable, capable, and worthy of success. Self-confidence becomes a powerful motivator that reinforces your discipline, creating a positive cycle of growth and achievement. In essence, discipline is a source of personal power. transforms you from someone who reacts to life's challenges into someone who proactively shapes their future. This empowerment is not just about achieving external success, it's about becoming the strongest, most authentic version of yourself. In closing, building discipline so strong that it changes your identity is not just about achieving goals. It's about becoming the person you aspire to be. It's a journey of consistent effort, resilience, and growth that transforms every part of your life. Remember, discipline is not a burden, but a powerful tool that gives you control, confidence, and clarity. So, embrace the challenges, commit to the daily practice, and watch as your identity and your life evolve in ways you never imagined possible. Thank you.